You're listening to the Back Porch Talk podcast. Danny and Jason had many discussions and debates on the back porch while making pivotal investment moves with assets. That's right, with trading cards. They welcome you to the back porch and right into those discussions about current sports news with a fresh and unique twist. So come on and join us. Welcome to the Back Porch Talk podcast. I'm your coach, Jason.
It's your coach, Danny.
Fans, we got a quick show for you today. Look, we're going into the NFL, week number 4. These Green Bay Packers, Danny, pulled it out in overtime, 27-24 over the New England Patriots. Aaron Rodgers, 21 for 35 for 251 yards, 2 touchdowns, a pick, which ironically became a pick 6. Aaron Jones, 16 carries for 110 yards. Lazard shows up finally, 6 receptions for 116 yards. There's something going on here with the Packers defense. New England Patriots ran all over the Packers, man. New England rushed for 167 yards. Fortunately enough, the Packers ran for 199 yards. As I mentioned, 110 by Aaron Jones, 73 by A.J. Dillon. But, Danny, I saw some defensive gaps with the Green Bay Packers in the run defense and, for that matter, in the secondary. Aaron Rodgers throws a pick 6, which rarely happens. He has indicated that he needs to play better. Hopefully the team plays better. But they escape. Danny, and I just think that a third-string quarterback in that of Bailey Zappi, he comes out 10 for 15, 99 yards and a touchdown. The actual first touchdown pass by a rookie quarterback for the season in the NFL. He did his part. New England Patriots could have won this game, Danny. I don't know what's going on with the Packers, Danny. I know they missed Devontae Adams. I'm really liking Dobbs. I think he's starting to become one of Aaron Rodgers' favorite targets. He could have actually walked off the game with the game-winning touchdown catch. Seemed like he caught the ball, but I thought at first the ground caused the fumble. But after a replay here and the challenge, they called it incomplete pass because he didn't complete the pass going down to the turf. But Dobbs is really starting to come around, Danny. 5 receptions, 47 yards, and a touchdown. And that touchdown was a back shoulder pass and everything. So I think Dobbs and Aaron Rodgers are starting to work out a good rapport here. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here. What say you, Danny?
Jason, Packers got lucky yesterday. In overtime, there was a 3rd down and 5 where Zappi, he just panicked because they already got the first down. I think they were going to drive and score. They just had the momentum. And they're, like you mentioned, they're running the ball all over Green Bay. I thought the Packers were just going to walk all over New England, especially when I heard Brian Hoyer wasn't even playing. Like, come on now. But maybe it's one of those games. It's more of a wake-up call for Green Bay. We'll see. They go to London next week to face the New York Giants, who were playing without a quarterback towards the end of the game against Chicago yesterday. They're running the Wildcat with Saquon Barkley. And who knows if Daniel Jones will be able to play. Tyrod Taylor went the concussion protocol. So who are they going to be playing against? Aaron Rodgers leaned on Randall Cobb. He made some big catches in that game.
Sure did.
Lazard made some big catches in the game. I still think they're trying to figure out if they're a run or a pass team. Like, which way do they want to – because they do the Aaron Jones, Dillon backfield, which I think gives them an advantage because both of them can catch out the backfield.
Yeah, so okay.
Mix some things up. But I still think they're trying to figure out their identity. I guess we'll see as season goes on. Their schedule is not that tough. And they have time to figure things out. But this is where if they're running into these teams that are undermanned, and then once they get to the playoffs, you know, things kind of show themselves. So obviously a long season, only week 4, but they got lucky yesterday.
I agree there, Danny, and that's one of actually my concerns. I know Tony Romo, who was commentating the game, he kept calling the backfield the Pony Express.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know about that. I mean, but it's a unique twist to it. But nonetheless, what happens if either Aaron Jones or AJ Dillon goes down, man, gets
Mhm.
hurt, or for several weeks? What's going to happen there? Uh, the third string running backs going to have to, step up and everything. So I'm just interested in seeing how this really works
Yep.
moving forward. And so I think they all got to play better, man. I think they all got to play better. And Danny, your Atlanta Falcons did something yesterday I was actually surprised with, Danny. They actually led the game. There was a comeback, but the Atlanta Falcons actually prevailed this go around, man. 23-20
Mhm.
over the Cleveland Browns. What say you, Danny?
Well, Jason, we ran the ball really well yesterday. And Cleveland, when you're playing Cleveland, that's what they're going to do. They're going to run the ball with Chubb
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
Hunt and
Mm-hmm.
pound it. So it was going to be a ground and pound game. And Atlanta actually stepped up to the challenge. Cordell Patterson actually ended up getting hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And Tyler Algier and Caleb Huntley, who they picked up last year, stepped up. And Mariota almost cost us every fourth quarter. He has a key turnover, and he almost cost them the game yesterday again. But Atlanta prevailed. Another close game. We're 2-2, but it was a game where they actually controlled the clock, and they just ran the ball really. The offensive line played really well, and that's something. And I don't know too, with Mariota being back in the backfield as the quarterback, it's a different respect they have to have versus when Matt Ryan's back there, when he used to be back there, because Mariota can run as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Mariota didn't have the best completion percentage yesterday. It was 7 for 19,
Mm-mm.
but they overcame it with the running game, and then the defense stepped up. They had some key stops. It was a 4th and goal at the beginning of the game. They stopped Cleveland on the 2. Hey, man, we'll take it. That's the 4th game now. That's went down to the bitter end for all
Mm-hmm.
their games. So as a Falcons fan, graying up, balding by the minute, but hey, we'll take a win where we can get it. And we'll see what happens next week against Tampa Bay and getting to play against our boy Julio.
If he's healthy.
That is
Now,
true.
Danny, another intriguing game for this NFL week actually happened Thursday night, and where the Bengals beat the Miami Dolphins 27-15. The story of this particular game, Danny, has been the fact of Tua actually being injured with a concussion. And by now, everybody has seen the footage of him getting sacked. His head hits the turf, and his hands actually kind of go in different directions and all, which seems to appear to be a neurological reaction, if you will, to a concussion. And so Tua has been ruled out for week number 5 game against the Jets, I believe. But nonetheless, man, this story reeks of why Tua should not have played in this particular game. The game before, even though there was indication that it was a back injury that Tua had, everybody knows by now that was actually a concussion that was sustained. The way that he got up and then eventually kind of fell down again. A back injury doesn't do that, but a head concussion would do that. So there were questions in terms of why Tua was playing in the Cincinnati Bengals game in Dahl. I give him credit in a sense for sticking it out, for playing, but I'd rather be healthy and have him be healthy. Not only for the short term, but for the long term in Dawes. So our prayer is that he gets healthy and that this shines a light to what the NFL should be doing moving forward, Danny. Being more strict on these concussion protocols and the testing and all. And so hopefully this shines a light. NFLPA has actually fired the doctor that dealt with Tua. I hope this shines a light, and hopefully there could be a situation where we don't experience this again. The players don't experience this again. And all those who watch NFL football, the fans, don't experience this again. What say you, Danny?
Yeah, Jason, it was tough to watch, and it was a short week as well. And this goes to the Thursday night game, which as a fan, you like to see games because action, get to watch football. But at the same time, from a player standpoint, that's not a lot of turnaround, especially in the NFL, man, where it's brutal. You're taking a beating every week, and you have 5 days to recuperate and get ready for the next game. So it's tough that they cleared him, and it also goes to, you don't know from the Dolphins standpoint, internally, how was this handled? So we won't know that. But we'll find out eventually. They'll shine some light on that. But from Tua's standpoint, just hope he gets better and he comes back when he's ready and able to and comfortable, because that's going to be another thing too, where something like that happens. How comfortable are you going to be, and how long is it going to take you to get to where you want to be? And that was tough, man, because the Dolphins they're rolling.
Yeah, sure will.
And Tua was actually when we were talking about it every week, he was actually showing up. And the receivers were wilding out with Tyreek and Waddle. So it's tough from that standpoint as well, from the team standpoint, to lose him in the way they did. So our wishes are with him, prayers are with him. Hopefully he gets better and come back when you're ready.
Yep. The Bengals wins that game, Danny, 27-15. Teddy Bridgewater comes in 14-23, 193 yards, 1 touch, 1 interception in that game in relief of Tua. Tua actually started with 8 for 14, 110 yards, did have a pick though, and that 1 sack, unfortunately, in this case. Tyreek Hill had a game, man, 10 receptions for 160 yards, man. They got something going down in Miami, Danny. This Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle combination is going to be wicked.
Yep.
But Cincinnati receiving crew is like, hold up now. Wait a second. Don't be talking about Miami. We still here now. T. Higgins, 7 receptions, 124 yards, a touchdown. Jamar Chase, 4 receptions for 81 yards. So I'm telling you, man, these young guns and young receiving cores in the AFC right now is something wicked, man. So we'll see what happens here, Danny. Another interesting game that happened in this week in NFL, Danny, I would have to say happened last evening with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking this L against Kansas City Chiefs, which was a Super Bowl rematch from a couple years ago here. No competition, 41-31. I think the game was well in the hand of the Kansas City Chiefs, man. Man, it was like 28-17 at halftime. But I don't think the score is really indicative to the domination that the Chiefs actually played here. Tom Brady, yeah, he had 385 yards, 3 touchdowns and all. Mike Evans, 8 receptions, 103 yards, 2 touchdowns. But Danny, this Kansas City Chiefs was on a mission. They came back to the place of the crime, so to speak. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, 23 for 37, 249, 3 touchdowns, interception. But I just think that the Kansas City Chiefs, they were together. I know last week there was a fight or argument with Patrick Mahomes and the offensive coordinator there. But nonetheless, man, I think they came together and wanted to seek revenge on their loss in the Super Bowl against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What say you, Danny?
Patrick Mahomes was focused. You could see it in his eyes. He made some crazy plays. Kelsey still doing it, man.
Mm-hmm.
He's tough.
Mm-hmm.
He made some tough catches yesterday. And as long as Mahomes has Kelsey on his side, the Chiefs are always going to be competitive because Kelsey's just a matchup nightmare. Yeah. And also Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a great game. And that was something they've been waiting for him. So he's starting to get some confidence now. And if they can get the running game going to match up with the passing game, Chiefs are back where they need to be. So the defense played well enough to win that game yesterday. And from the Tampa side, getting the receivers back, it was because they were all pretty much out yet last week. So just getting some continuity. I think that's the thing right now with them is getting them in practice and getting some continuity with Brady and the receivers, some timing. They had -3 rushing yards in the first half. So the running game was not there yesterday. So I think that's where I'm a little worried with my Falcons coming up next week with Tampa Bay. And Tampa Bay trying to get right on us. But it was one of those games where Kansas City just jumped on them from the beginning and never looked back.
Lastly, Danny, the Buffalo Bills 23-20 over the Baltimore Ravens. These Buffalo Bills are for real, man. Josh Allen, 19 for 36, 213, touchdown, interception, a pedestrian game for him. Lamar Jackson throws 2 picks, man. 20 for 29 for 144 yards, Danny. Is Lamar Jackson playing himself out of a contract, or was it just this particular matchup, you think, that just kind of bothered him?
I think it was the matchup. And if you look at that second interception he threw, it was on 4th and goal, where he saw something and then he kind of double pumped and he tried to force it. Where if they kick the field goal, that's one less interception on his books.
Yep.
So I think it's one of those things where he's been playing lights out up to this game, and he actually started off well yesterday, and then the Ravens just went to sleep on offense in that second half, which allowed Buffalo to get back in the game. And Buffalo, you got to credit Buffalo's defense as well for doing that. So it was tough to see, but I think it was just one of those games that it's a tough matchup, and it kind of gives them a measuring stick now of what they need to do from a playoff standpoint, because Buffalo obviously is one of the top teams in the AFC, and they need to go back to the drawing board to figure out how in the second half they can rectify some of the issues they had.
An interesting stat here, Josh Allen carries the ball 11 times for 70 yards and a touchdown. Lamar Jackson carries the ball 11 times for 73 yards, no touchdown. Buffalo is for real, man. Folks know, I think they got a chip on their shoulders from the last year, how the playoffs ended for them. But nonetheless, man, I think Buffalo is for real. Thank you for joining us at Back Porch Talk Podcast. You can also join us on Twitter by tweeting us at @back_podcast. For more information, you can go to our website, which is backporchtalkpodcast.com. You can also email us at backporchtalkpodcast@gmail.com. Again, thank you for joining us, and remember that there's enough hate in the world, so go ahead and spread a little love.